Let's start this meeting. Is there? All right. Hey, Matt.
Hello.
All right, call. I think I'm right here. On this, right there.
Oh.
There you go.
Yes.
Lisa, do you want to do roll call?
So weird.
Here.
Here.
Ken Cleveland.
Here.
Ken Jackson.
Here.
Blaze Messenger.
Here.
John Post.
Here.
Heather Jacobs. Here. Jack Buckus.
Here.
Ron Rickey. Joe Colada. Here. Dan Brisson.
Here.
Enza and Claudio are at custodian negotiations, so that's why they're not here.
Okay. All right. Agenda's in front of you. Any changes or updates to the agenda? If not, take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Anyone abstaining? Motion carries. Minutes, you should have all received the minutes in email. Any changes, comments? If not, take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Matt. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Anyone abstaining?
I'll actually abstain. I missed the first half hour.
Okay, you're abstaining. 2, 3, 4. Motion carries. Okay. Public comments, any formal submittals? No. I did get an email from Dr. Macri. She was not able to be here today, but she said she wanted to bring this up today, but she couldn't, so I'm going to just read what she wanted to bring up. She said, I feel very passionately about dedicating the CMS auditorium in memory of Michael Camilleri, and I asked Selena if this was something we can discuss at the Board of Ed meeting. He was a true champion of the arts. During his 10 years of service on the Board of Education, I would love to honor that in his memory. So my reply back to that was that's really a Board of Education decision, if that's what they want to do. So I'm going to let them decide. Discuss, decide, let us know what you want to do. I got a bunch of, not official correspondence, but lots of chatter, and I guess this will go right into my chairperson's update. Lots of chatter about the parking lot being closed this summer. So the parking lot's going to close on June 14th, and it's going to reopen August 20-something, 4th, 5th, something like that, 16th, right before school starts. There is a Little League tournament. John, do you know the dates from that Little League tournament?
I don't know.
There's a Little League tournament somewhere in July. Their summer season runs through July. So Little League runs through the month of July, and they have an all-star tournament somewhere in the middle there. They're expecting 50 to 60 cars parked somewhere to attend this event. So the feedback, because I did get a message from the mayor with his concerns. I got messages from various parents and other town representatives, I should say, about the concern about this. And I'm giving the same response to all of them, which is that this plan, A, it's been in place for a while. We just have dates now for it. B, it's the only way we can do it that impacts our faculty, staff, and students the least during the school year. And it's a safety concern as well for drop-off. If we don't do it during the summer, we can't do it during the school year. So we have zero options to move this effort to any other time than in the summer. So we will do our best to work with the town. I'm not sure what is within our capacity to help the town figure out where they want to have all these people park, but Woodside is a short walk to those fields. It's literally across the street, and there's plenty of parking in the soccer fields. I think there's like 20 spots there at the soccer field. And then you have just a short walk over, you have all those parking spots. There's also the parking lot at the Board of Ed building. I think there's like 10, 12 spots there. I don't remember. I don't know. Anyone remember?
It's more like 16, I'd say.
16 spots there. So 16, 20 spots over in the Board of Ed parking lot, which again is a short distance. You just have to walk to the sidewalk and walk over. And, I'm sure that people will find ways to park at the Boy Scout Lodge as well.
There's also Watrous Park, too.
And, yeah, it's a farther walk, a little bit.
They cut across, I don't think it's any farther than Thorncrest.
How far does the fence go right now? How far up the fields does the fence go?
They can cut through the back, the passageway, walk along the side of the school, and they
They-
end up right there in the parking lot.
Yeah, they'd have to walk on the east side of the school and around.
Oh,
They'd have-
because you're cutting all that off?
Yeah,
Okay, I
you'd
got
have
it.
to, your best bet would be walk up
Watrous Park Road.
Watrous Park
Yeah.
Road.
Right.
And the town elected to only have half that road sidewalked. They didn't sidewalk the entire road, so I'm not sure how safe. I mean, that's not my call, but we should just let people know that there is a sidewalk, but only goes up to the entrance of the construction site. That was another question that came up in social media, was the east side of the school where all the dirt piles are. So right now, people seem to feel like they can cut through there up to Watrous Park. I'm concerned about safety with those dirt piles there and mud and all this other stuff. Is there enough, like, I haven't been there, but is there enough space for people to walk by there
I walk
safely?
out there every weekend.
Yeah, it's all fenced
It's all
off.
fenced off. And then there's a little passageway through the little road.
Yep.
Which is also
Okay.
fenced off, so there's no issue at all.
Okay, so you're
You're
buried by a fence, so you don't,
Right.
okay.
You can't play king of the hill.
Okay, all right. Perfect. I have not been that side, so I wasn't sure what it looked like and if there was a safe, I'm just concerned about safety and safe passage. I think that was everything. Shoot, I just lost my train of thought. There was Ann Cochiola, and we're talking about this in the Newfield report, but she did mention about the entrance sign to the school. The one they have now is in disarray and it needs to be replaced. So they were under the assumption that it was going to be replaced as part of this project, but it's not in our current plan. So we're going to have to talk about that during Newfield's report and see what the implications of that is. Okay, that's all my updates. Communication Subcommittee.
Nothing.
Design Subcommittee.
So we are still working through the wall graphics. We had a little bit of a brainstorming to go through the Main Street wall graphics and how we're going to tackle that based on the conversation we had at our last meeting. We think we have a little bit of a game plan. We're still working our way through how we're going to tackle wall graphics and what it's going to look like, so we can present it to the full committee. So more to come on that, hopefully at our next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Where's Claudio today, Lisa, do you know?
Oh yeah, I said he's at the custodian's negotiation.
Oh, he's there, okay, I didn't catch that, he's with Enzo. Okay, does anyone have the?
Yeah, I can do that. I was there all
Oh,
day.
oh,
I don't know
perfect.
how you people do that, meetings all day. Yeah, we met from 9 to 4 with representatives from all of the sort of different groups, and it was great. The people came very prepared. Everybody was very excited about their new digs. A couple we gave them lots of ideas. They're going to come back with more actual examples of the kind of furniture and fixtures and equipment that we talked about. But there were a couple of things that will require a change order sooner rather than later,
Okay.
before they pour the slab. One is the robotics teacher needs a sink, which was somehow never in the original scope. He needs it for when they use glue. They need to wash it and get it on their hands. They need to wash it off immediately. He also does things with like building bridges where they bend wood. So in order to do that, but we'd have to get a change order before the slab to get the plumbing in.
So we're gonna require a design change.
And
We'll have to issue a sketch for that.
the second thing was the science teachers would like electrical outlets in their big lab their teaching lab desk table thing that are actually in the unit rather than on the wall behind them, because they do things like boil water, and the cords are a safety issue, so they would rather, right now they have power in their big lab, what's it called, lab table?
It's a demonstration table.
Demonstration table. And so they would like to have the outlets actually in there, and that requires them to come up through the ground. So again, that would have to happen before the slab is poured, which is in soon, I believe.
Yeah, few weeks.
And then, do they want those electrical outlets to all the student tables as well?
No, just the teacher
demonstration?
table. So it would just be the two on the
Two science
first
rooms.
floor, because the second floor, you still need to,
Yeah, but
you
you
don't have to
need
come up through the slab, yeah.
Just need the design change.
Yeah.
Okay. So Joe, since this is a design change, we need to know how much it's gonna cost
For,
to do the sketch.
oh, no, there's no cost for the sketch.
No?
We'll issue the sketch.
Nice. Okay.
And then one other change, this does not require a change order, but I thought you should know. The role of the Media Center Library has completely changed since we did the ed specs.
The role?
The role, ROLE, we no longer have a librarian, so it is, we have a STEM teacher, so it's going to more or less function as her class more than a library itself. So what we drawing, there's a smaller room off to the back that's
Yeah.
now going to house the stacks, the books, and then the front area of the media center will be her classroom, because she does have a class in there where she does STEM, so it's sort of been did not really match the ed spec, simply because we don't have a librarian anymore. They replaced it. They got rid of her and replaced her with this STEM teacher last summer. So that was the solution we talked about.
Jack wants to talk.
Is this a short-term, glitch in the matrix, or is this a long-term change of
My
philosophy?
sense of it is it's a long-term change. They're looking to get like a paraprofessional to run checkout. Right now, nobody checks out books. Nobody knows how many books we have.
No one reads books anymore.
Because you need books, and there are people, as a teacher, not having books in a library, it's the only option a lot of kids have to get books. So, you need some of the books, so.
This reminds me of Middletown. Middletown had that STEM teacher that kind of managed the library, the audiovisual room, like, remember that? It was this huge, the innovation center, and the robotics, and she did it all, and she just had this huge, it's called the Innovation Center, and it was just all connected. Remember, were you part of that tour? Yeah. This is what it feels like, where books are just kind of tucked in random cubbies here and there.
With that, the solution was to put them all.
Small library upstairs.
Oh, that's right, upstairs. Yeah.
So that's what, this would have the small library in that book. And so they took it, they're gonna.
This is like a closet.
No, it's like 11 by 16, if I remember.
It's a small group room.
Yeah, it was the small group
Yeah,
room.
it's was meant to be like a small classroom.
And there still might be room for some bookshelves out in the space itself. But
So what does that change as far as FF&E?
so the big circulation desk that was in there, she would like that changed just to regular teacher desk, because, and then have maybe a rolling cart with just the checkout on it with a laptop. So a paraprofessional, whoever's going to check out the books, would do it that way.
So where are the students going to sit?
The students sit in that open area that was they're still there. That's now a classroom. It will have tables and maker, she calls it a maker space. She'll have all of her.
So it'll be like group tables as opposed to like individual desks.
Thought we had tables in there anyway.
Group tables.
They're going to be desks that can be configured in any number of ways.
So we're putting desks in there or tables?
They're table desks. They're like two-person table desks.
Yeah.
They talked about possibly the trapezoid, so you could put in various formulations.
It would be more similar to robotics and coding.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of goes with the
So it
theme.
wouldn't be desks, it would be like tables because they're building and making stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And then also, another change that she requested that we replace the carpet, the fuzzy VCT, with the LVT flooring. So, because it's more of a project-based learning, and it's more of a makerspace, so it's very messy.
Oh, boy.
It's not really media
The
center.
Board of Ed needs to weigh in if they're going to have a change in the program.
It is an ed spec
Yeah, I say,
change.
shouldn't we be changing the ed spec if they're gonna change the purpose of this room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, as a practice, Ken, you're right, that we would need something that was very well-defined so that we can give people direction and get some input, whether it's an official ed spec change or just a definition of purpose from the board, from, some sort of curriculum head that's then approved by the board, rather than kind of freelancing it. I think we really need to have this defined.
Yeah, is it coming from one person, or is it,
From Ann, or who brought this up, just the media?
The new teacher who was just hired last summer, so she knew nothing of the original ed spec or anything.
Yeah, I'd feel better coming from Board of Ed or
And
top down.
Enza was
than
in there
just-
for a little part of that, and I,
Was Ann in the meeting?
Ann was in that meeting,
And
yes.
she was agreeing with all this?
Yes, and Enza was there, and because Enza had said to us, way back when she was trying to define her vision of a STEAM school, what this would look like, and she sort of gave the impression that there wouldn't be many books in there either. So I asked her if that's what you want, and she just sort of said to Lindsay, the teacher, whatever you want.
And what are they calling it now?
I get, they're still calling it the media center,
Oh,
Yeah.
as far as I know.
but she's no longer a librarian, she's
She's
a...
not, no, nobody checks out books
She's
now.
a STEM coordinator, STEM
She's a STEM teacher. She's an actual teacher. She teaches a full schedule of classes.
well, I feel like if we're going to go down this road and have a design change there, it's like, we ought to do it right.
Yeah.
And that's the space where she's teaching her classes.
That will be her, as the program is now, that is her classroom. Now, they did say, Ann said something like down the road, maybe that changes, that she's not teaching classroom, she's pulling people in there, I don't know.
What-
But it did seem a little amorphous.
What kind of flooring do we have in the robotics room, like the other innovation areas? It was the
believe
LVT,
it's
wasn't it?
LVT.
So it's just
yes.
extending that, right?
Correct. I believe robotics and coding had LVT. The media center had the carpet,
Yeah.
which is a
Mm.
resilient flooring, but it will take a little bit more abuse if it's more project-based.
Is robotics and coding a full-time
Yes, there's a full, they're both
Full day?
two separate, they run a full schedule of classes, yes.
schedule?
Two separate teachers for each?
A separate teacher for each one, right. And they teach all 3 grades. Every kid gets it at some point.
Okay.
Blaze,
Alright.
I don't recall, trying to get back to my notes. Would she require a sync in there as well?
She-
With the program change? I can't remember what we said.
She asked if there was one, but she said they do cleanup and stuff because she sends them now she sends them out to the bathroom, so she didn't
She would
demand
prefer
one,
to
but I
bathroom?
think she would.
Refer to...
If you're running the plumbing for the other
Mm-hmm.
sink, maybe you do, I don't know, yeah. I'm sure she wouldn't say no.
Right.
So if that's the case, that's a decision that needs to be made, like, now.
That's gonna need to be, because right now they're finalizing, I'm sorry. Yeah, right now they're finalizing their MEP coordination, and they're starting the trench, what, in 2 weeks or so for utilities?
Oh, boy. We're starting Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So, there was no prep room for the media center, right? There was no, like, teachers' cubby room?
There's a storage room.
Equipment storage and storage.
Oh, it's just storage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just trying to think, where would you put a sink? Because if you put a sink, then you gotta put, like, cabinetry and all that other stuff with it, don't you?
Yes.
So it doesn't look weird.
Yeah, it could be a wall-mounted, like a hand wash sink, but that's probably not going to cover project-based learning. You would need something larger.
Do we have cabinetry in this media center now?
Other than the circulation desk, and there's a wraparound counter, but no
And against the
base
walls?
cabinets. Yeah.
And there's not much wall space because of it's got the glass walls along the back.
Yeah. So where would we put the sink?
I printed this out.
That's
In the storage room?
Yeah, you could put
I
it
wouldn't
in
put
one
it-
of those storage rooms, you could do that.
Well, if the students are going to access it, she was indicating that she doesn't usually let the students
Yeah,
into the
yeah,
storage rooms.
right.
by themselves.
I wouldn't want to put a sink near any electronical stuff, robotics room and things like that.
So
Though
we-
they're saying they say they need a sink in the robotics room?
He said
said
he,
he
yes,
needed
he
a
said he
sink,
needs
yeah.
one.
So can they just walk in the robotics room and clean it? Whatever they gotta clean?
Well, the wall that separates the media and the coding rooms is mostly glass?
No, it has
Uh,
it has a partition wall.
yeah,
So
it's
you
a
can go,
operable
you can open that
partition
and go
now.
between them.
Right, but it's full. It could. I didn't know it goes.
Not the
goes
whole length,
the
but
whole length. Yeah.
It's what?
It's a pretty short wall. I don't
Oh, okay.
recall if we had a door in it or not.
So I don't, you said, I believe it was a folding partition.
But what does the north side look like? That's a solid wall,
Yeah,
right?
so it has a door in the folding partition.
Okay.
If we're gonna change the whole nature of that space, because the
Right.
folding partition should make sense.
Between these two rooms.
I think there's a domino effect to this. I think somebody from the curriculum side of life needs to define it very well, very quickly.
How's the coding room separate from the robotics room right now?
Coding from robotics is a hollow metal door with a side light.
Double door, right?
It's a single door.
Single?
Yeah.
If
Oh,
you're saying media is separated from robotics by
Yeah.
the partition
Yeah.
wall, which has a door,
Yes.
and if there's a sink in robotics,
Hmm.
if and when she's doing something that needs a sink, why can't she send them through the door to utilize the
It's-
sink in robotics?
Because it's media center coding robotics, I think, right? Not
No,
media.
robotics is in the
No,
middle.
Robotics
they
in
share
the
Oh, it
middle.
is?
Robotics is in
Oh,
the middle.
yeah. That's, yeah, so just use the robotics
If you've got a
sink.
class going on, you're not gonna want
True.
classes, traffic.
True, that's true too.
Two spaces, right?
Coding robotics. Remember,
Coding and robotics are two separate
we're not
spaces.
designing
It's
this for
media
one
center,
person. You
robotics,
know, you gotta
coding
think about
in
the
a
people
row.
who are gonna come in after. It's gotta be flexible.
Yeah, they don't want it.
What do you mean?
So, people come and go, you know, and when one person starts demanding changes, is it gonna work for the next person? It might not. I mean, this is kind of a wholesale change, and to be, I don't know, we need more direction than just from one teacher.
And is the media center next to the, it's not next to the art room, there's a space, right, the doorway?
There's a- yeah, gap,
This,
yep.
yeah, this, I'm not sure how this is conceived. This was a quick change they did at the end of the last school year. And they told the librarian, they moved her to a different school, and then they hired this new person, but it was never, I don't know how clear it is from curriculum, so you're right, it could change at any time. But they do seem to be moving away from books.
I mean, yeah. Not only that, they just seem to say we have a dedicated STEAM instructor, teacher, and they will have classes in this space. Now you're right, maybe that would change, but regardless of your views on the need for a library, like it seems like that space is forever going to be the STEAM room space.
If you put a line in for water, how accurate does that water line need to be? Like, do you have to, it has to go right up to where it actually pops up, or come down from above?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
Or
it's a-
drainage,
it's a
or
drain on
the
the
It's
drainage?
the
Drainage,
drain,
yeah.
not the water, yeah.
Like, if the drain
it has
came
to
up
vent
one
as
wall,
well,
you
right?
needed it on the other wall, is it hard to pipe to the other wall, or do you have to like,
Yeah,
You pretty much need to know
You gotta
exactly
get
where.
it close.
Yeah.
For sure. You gotta get it close.
I mean, I don't know what the layout of this floor is to even consider the decision.
Well, we don't need to design it here
No.
in a committee meeting. It's just, you know, to know that between the principal, any kind of curriculum department head, central office type of person needs to provide input so that we can design this in
But the
very
problem,
short order.
but the problem is, they're gonna start doing stuff Tuesday, right?
Yeah, we're starting in B building on Tuesday.
So if they're starting Tuesday,
This is
we would like to have some
It
decision.
would be inappropriate to wing it. We need input from somebody on the curriculum side of life. And if you gotta duct tape them to a chair in order to get an answer, let them know that construction is moving.
Yeah.
This is something that they've had a year's worth of design to discuss. And to spring it on everybody in an FF&E meeting and expect it to happen overnight, you know, we can do miracles, but the
So we're all
impossible
s-
takes a little longer.
So we're all set with the science, with the robotics room putting a sink there? Like, we know we're gonna put the sink and all that, like,
We'll have to issue a sketch for that, yes.
But we know, like there's
There's
cabinetry
millwork
there. There's
yes.
millwork there.
Yeah, so that's not as difficult as a task.
So then we have to give the administration a deadline of, say, Monday, and say you need to tell us. There's a holiday.
Tuesday.
And I will say, I mean, it seems like Lindsay, the teacher, was flying blind. She just came in and said, this is what I want, and I don't know that she had discussed this with anybody.
Okay.
So I agree, I don't know what curriculum envisioned, and they were not in this meeting, so,
Yeah, like what do you need that requires? a
right,
sync?
this is what she wants, I don't know if that's what the district wants.
Yeah. And she's not the art teacher too, right?
No, she's the STEAM teacher, and right now she's operating out of the library, that's her classroom. We don't use it as the library.
Okay.
Dan, what was Dan saying? You're saying you're starting on doing what in B? The slab work?
We're starting the underside utilities in B. We're starting at the west end and working
Yeah.
toward robotic we were talking about. We're working toward that way, so we have a little bit of time, but not a lot. By the time we get a sketch, we gotta get pricing.
Yeah.
It takes time.
Playing the devil's advocate too, like,
Yeah.
teachers always have a wish list, but like, devil's advocate, how often would a sink be utilized in STEAM too, right? Like, is it 3 times a year that she would be using something and it would be nice to have a sink? Because if that's the case, is it really worth all this?
And that is sort of the way
Like-
she presented it.
Right? Like, is
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
Like, is there a restroom near that?
Right across the street,
Right
across the
Oh,
street.
then they can just go to the restroom.
right? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, is it
That's what they do now.
Is the effort worth the 3 times a year that she might be used? Like, teachers use glue and have to send their kids across the hall to wash their hands a couple times a year because they use glue in the classroom.
Yeah.
We don't give them all sinks.
Yeah.
And I will say the reason rec room, so it already had a sink. It was never, I don't believe it was in the ed specs, and he saw something that was a column and he thought it was a sink. So it was never brought up before today.
Gotcha.
And those are the two
And he's been
situations.
utilizing that.
He's been using it as a sink because it's already there. And so he said he uses this for his bridge building project to bend wood, and to wash off the glue. But there is the auditorium restrooms are right across the hall. So that's something to keep, I don't know how long he does the bridge.
The only reason he has a sink.
Those
is
are
for
the two uses it for. But if he hadn't said, and I saw the sink, and we all said, what sink? This never would have happened.
Oh.
When he saw this circle that was a column and thought it was a sink.
Oh.
But if he hadn't mentioned that, it would have been built without the sink. And
So maybe it's a.
I don't think putting in a sink is that big a deal. It's just the media center had a wholesale change there. That's kind of big.
Yeah. All right, so I'll send a note over to Ann and copy Enza and Selena and just say that we need some better clarification. We need to understand what the BOE wants to do as far as that curriculum change and get some formal direction from them as to what they want to do with that room. If they want to make it a classroom, then we need to know that so that we can plan for that.
Yeah, just to get back to the sink, it also future-proofs the room in case they ever change it to something else. Putting it as sink in robotics.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be opposed to that at all.
I agree with you, Heather. I don't know why they would want it in the steam room if they're only going to use it like once a while.
Yeah, I mean, robotics makes sense, like, because that, like, if there's cabinetry already and it's easy enough to put in, and it makes a little more sense. In the media center, which also is going to have book space, and there's no cabinetry, and we're going to have to, like, redesign, and it's going to look awkward, and we're struggling to, like,
Yeah.
yeah, and I will also say,
it's a hard sell for me.
based on what I've seen and heard about the STEM things, it's not a big, she doesn't use paint, I don't think. There may be some glue, but it isn't like a big cleanup that you couldn't walk across the hall and
Gotcha.
wash your hands. It doesn't need to be immediate, so, for that.
All right, so we're not making any decisions tonight. We're going to get some formal direction from the administration as to how they want to proceed with that. But we are okay with the water drainage line for the robotics room and for the science, electrical for science. Okay. Anything else for FF&E?
They spend a lot of time shuffling the offices in central office, which I'm sure will happen several times again.
You mean like shuffling who takes
Who
which office?
takes which office, yeah. They are going to come in, the guy from Suburban said that he'd come in with some chairs and desks and have a show and tell
Okay.
for the staff and for anybody else that wants to come. So he's,
When's that gonna happen?
don't know.
Okay.
He's doing something for central office for 10 days to give them an idea of a standard office package with a desk and a chair and a bookcase and everything else.
Oh, like a little
Yeah, so
setup
they-
mock-up?
And so they can figure out the pricing.
He's going to
because-
do a layout. We're
Yeah.
going to issue CAD files. He'll do a layout and fit in actual furniture pieces that, with all
And
the
then they can
components.
see what kind of
See
money
what
they
they
have to
can
work
fit.
with.
Because sometimes they
create a
have like
budget.
mock-ups where they'll bring in like a little cube and they'll set up a desk and chair and just show you what it will actually look like.
Right. So
They
they'll-
do that?
They're going to bring in like a bunch of student chairs, a bunch of student desks, teacher desks, teacher chairs,
Okay.
and office stuff as well.
Okay.
So we'll take up the media center.
Is that going to be before school ends?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. For the central admin, it doesn't have to be, but for the student
staff,
stuff and
yeah.
classrooms, it needs to be.
Are we going to have students try out any of these sample desks to see what feels comfortable now or not? You don't care? Okay.
What you should do is see how fast it takes them to like ruin it.
Oh, yeah.
You borrow my cake.
Anything else, please?
I think that's it. It was actually very exciting because people came with their laundry lists and so it
Any
starts to become real.
surprises? Any else that was kind of like,
I can't think of.
That was the biggest one, the media
yeah.
center.
No
Yeah.
crazy requests besides that?
No chocolate fountains or anything
No
like
chocolate
that.
fountains?
I asked for a Murphy bed in my room and they said no.
Aw, I'm sorry.
Yeah, get a hammock. I get a hammock.
Hey, Shannon.
Was there anyone who was like, I do not want this? Or like, don't give us this?
Me, when I said I don't want those desks that are attached to the chair, I said,
Oh,
Yeah.
you want separated?
because one teacher wanted that. I said, when nobody else wants that.
Oh, for the students?
Yeah.
Those
But-
are hard to squeeze into sometimes.
Yes, and you can't move them around into different
Yeah.
shapes. So, no, not really. Everybody was very like, this is what I'd like if I can get it. So, I don't think so. I mean, the music teacher and the art teacher, they came in with links and pictures, and I mean, they really
Yeah.
did a thorough
They
job.
had linkable
Yeah,
PDF,
so
not
they really,
PDFs,
and they
Excel
said,
files and-
yeah, this is what I want. This is the shelving I want. This is the instrument. They were great. So
Mm-hmm.
people were really, really good.
And did you meet with Molly already?
Yes.
Yeah, Molly was there. The chorus teacher was there. The art teacher, Jim, nurse, central. The main office people. Did I miss anybody? Science people,
science.
and then robotics and coding and STEM.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a few spaces where you have to check on, like OTPT, a couple other specialty spaces that we need to get some information on, but maybe we could do that as a Zoom call. It's just a couple spaces. And we also, one of the things we talked about a lot today is if anything from the existing building will be moved over, that could be reused. So
Anyone offer up anything they want to
There was
reuse?
a few things.
Yeah, they're all going to go through their stuff because they realize that money, is an issue, and some of the stuff is relatively new.
Yeah.
So they will bring, they are going to go through and see what we can salvage.
Okay.
Can I bring something up just because I thought of it now? I've been meaning to mention this for like 3 months. Flagpoles. What did we say? We're going to have one flagpole?
For the exterior?
Mm-hmm.
I believe so.
One.
Yes.
And this would be ground mounted, right? Not
Yes.
coming off the building.
Right.
WIS, I walk by every day and there's 2 empty flagpoles. It's like an eyesore, actually.
Used to have
I don't know if there's any value in reusing it or if it's more hassle to deconstruct. I just didn't know if the pure material would be
used to have a
worth salvaging. that's what I wasn't sure about. Just throwing it out there. It's
My
a-
guess is to move it probably costs more than just putting new one in.
Yeah.
The labor.
Yeah, there's a big tube that goes in the ground full of sand.
Okay.
It's easier to just
All
put the
right.
new one in.
Yeah, we do have all the stuff external that we want to keep, which we have record of, like
Yes.
the dinosaur print and the memorial and all that stuff.
All right, one more. Since you brought up before the exterior sign, I don't know if we're going to talk about that more.
Yeah, we're
at
gonna
another
talk
meeting.
about that in Newfield's report.
I'll wait till then.
I don't know, I figured I'd throw it in there. It's construction stuff. All right, anything else, Blaze?
That's all I can, I have a home. If you want to know, what kind of desk people want, I have that.
The big thing you missed is that the media center is now a STEAM room classroom. So, we have to figure out with the administration if that's their official direction. It's not an ed spec. Okay, next. Design.
So Blaze took up most of my report.
I'm sorry.
That's
I missed
okay.
that.
We tag teamed it. So field update. So Alex Hidalgo, who's our construction administrator, has been going out to the site bi-weekly for meetings and been attending the MEP coordination meetings. He picked up a boatload of samples last Thursday, so those are getting processed now. And,
Samples for
everything. Glass.
Material samples.
Materials,
Yeah.
yeah. Finishes. What is there finishes in there? Exterior finishes, metals. So that we're reviewing all those together so that we can match the colors, because metals, even though they might be called the same color, by different manufacturers, can look completely different. So we like to get those all together.
Okay.
And that will go into the mock-up. So,
Excellent.
and we'll be issuing a report. He told me to have it by the end of today.
Awesome. All right. Newfield update.
Okay, Jack, can you go to that, or Ron, can you go to that drone shot?
Yeah. Which way do you go with this?
I love. Is it a video? I love videos.
Well, with no video this week.
Dang it.
One more, Ron. There you go, right there. So,
What slide number is that?
just for an update, in B building, that's B building you're looking at to the left. All the concrete, we've since poured the firewall footing today. So all the concrete in B building will be complete by next Wednesday. Oh, you got a pointer? Thanks, Ron. Yep,
Right here.
all that.
You mean the walls or the actual, not the pad,
The walls and the footings,
and the footings?
yeah. So we're starting to, Ron, can I borrow that?
Yep.
Thank you. So, this area, well, this is B. That'll be done with concrete by next Wednesday. We're starting our under slab utilities in this section right here on Tuesday. And then we'll come into this section, then we'll go to C, then we'll go to D, then we'll go to A. Site fills are going on outside the building. As we backfill inside, we backfill outside. The gym concrete will probably start toward the end of next week, which is right in this area. We're now dug in D building, we're excavated up to just past the auditorium, which is over in here. The auditorium's here. We're dug to about here as far as excavation. No other utility work. We're gearing up for all that summer work we were talking about earlier in the meeting. We're getting ready for that work, which will start on the 14th. We're coordinating with all local utility authorities and all that stuff. Site dewatering is, the contractor is dewatering at his own expense. It's still going on, but it's not as much. Foundation damp proofing is ongoing as we backfill. And that's about it for the site, for what's going on right now. Steel is in fabrication. He's fabricating B building right now. We're still on schedule to start steel in the middle of July. Slabs will be starting about 3 weeks from now. We plan on pouring B building slab, which is this whole area.
What are those white blocks? Just material?
Those are all concrete footings for columns.
Oh.
Yep.
Hmm.
This one, that's a footing also. Yeah.
When does the elevator tower go in?
Once we set steel in this area, once
Mm.
we're out of here with steel, the 2 stair towers and the elevator will go CMU. And framing will start.
And when do we think final beam is going to be approximately? It's going to be after school starts or before school starts?
I think it's after.
Like
It's
September?
like beginning of September. That's about it for us. I don't know if you want to add anything, Ron?
Just the, the inspections, Tri-State has been out there doing the subgrade inspections, compaction, the footing, rebar placement, concrete placement, all of those inspections are going, and they've been all in compliance as far as I can see.
Do they test the footings for voids or anything like that? Is that a thing?
Well, when they pour it, the third-party independent lab is there while they're placing the concrete.
Okay.
So they'll use the vibrators and what have you to shake it out.
Okay,
Yeah, yes.
good.
They test the concrete, they watch the pouring of the concrete, compaction around the footings, all that good stuff.
Right.
Okay, good.
So while they've been out there, bringing where Dan was pointing out about the interior piers, the compaction over there, they're over there doing compaction tests in B as they're bringing that up. They've been out, SES has been out looking at the damp proofing, the placement of the, was it that insulation board? So there's been, some damage on the board by backfill, but Dan has got his crew taking care of those items, as, normal construction. So the oversight there is ongoing, so that's good. Let's see. The special inspector, structural engineer, Swazik, Kilty, and Fleur, they've been out taking a look at it. I just drew a blank on the stormwater. Freeman
Freeman.
Associates, they've been out watching the stormwater and, with the
Yeah.
rain events and, tracking that. And those logs have been going back, to the conservation, what have you. And I know Dan's got a good relationship with the building inspectors. They're pretty much out there every day.
Every day, yeah.
Concrete pours, rebar inspections, et cetera. So
Good.
everything's going well.
Awesome. All right.
Is there any update on the fence status?
Oh, yeah, did you ever hear?
I
Oh,
did-
yeah.
I did talk with Stuart Parp, and he was not a fan of the wood fence with the welded wire mesh on the inside, and he was going to be writing Jack a response to the inquiry on the change of the material. But with that being said, if we wanted to take it back to planning, he said that we're more than welcome to take it back to planning.
Is there a reason? He didn't provide a reason. He just didn't like it.
His feeling, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it seemed like the longevity, the durability of a wood post being in the ground versus a chain link. the
So does he
durability.
like the chain link that's around Town Hall?
I did not ask.
Because somebody should, because it looks terrible.
Yeah.
There's
There's
big
ga-
gaps that
there's
people can
gaps in the
fall
fence,
through,
yeah.
and, I mean, if it's gonna look like that, why are we gonna
Yeah.
do the same thing twice?
Do they have black coated at the town
Yeah,
hall?
it's black coated, but there's like big
There's-
gaps.
There's like 5
It-
foot
it
gaps
looks
in between the
terrible.
fence.
Yeah.
And then you fall, and then you can fall like, the gaps, you could fall like 6
Like
feet down.
gap underneath the fence?
No, the
No,
whole
between.
fence is missing. I have a picture.
Why is there a gap in the fence?
And there's like 3 or 4
And if you
of
went
them.
through
Why?
that fence, you could fall like 6 feet.
Yeah. So anyways, so he's going to have a formal reply back on the original request. So we'll have that.
Okay.
So if we have chain link, there's gonna be no gaps in the fence. We're not gonna do something stupid like they did at Town Hall.
No, we're gonna put flower pots in.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Let's keep, yeah.
We would just have the gate.
Let's
I
keep
mean,
going with the thing we designed, or the thing we,
Recommended?
yeah, acquiesce to, which is the wooden with the thing. And
We can always just go to planning and zoning and present it.
yeah, yeah.
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 Cedar, right, Jack?
We'll
Cedar.
have a good picture.
Cedar's very durable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we go, would we need the letter back from Stuart, and then we would just approach, I guess, just process-wise.
Process-wise, we'll get the letter back. You can make a determination if you want to go to the full P and Z and make a new submission, then
Because I know that
tee
takes
things up that way.
like a few weeks to get on their agenda and all of that, so.
And this is not a fence that's going to be installed this summer anyway, so there is time to go through that process if you choose
Okay.
to do so.
Okay, just want to make sure.
But
Which
the-
reminds, because that whole area is within the envelope of the current construction fencing now, that's why. Okay.
Don't we have to make a decision by a certain time,
Yeah.
or else the price doesn't hold?
There is a sunset on the alternates. I forget what the duration was, how many days? 3 months, 6 months, something like that.
120, 90 or 120, I forget.
Yeah, I'd have to double
Are
check.
we almost close to that? Don't we get the
I
stuff in
feel like
February?
I thought it was like June or July.
Yeah, I thought it was June. Remember
Probably.
June being a date.
You're probably getting close.
So can somebody check on that for us? Just so we have that.
Yeah, Ron, can you just follow up with Stu?
Yes.
Thank you. Before we move forward, the entrance, so I got an email from, Ann about the entrance sign. The one that they have right now is like in disarray because it's falling apart, and they were always under the assumption that we were going to replace it, as part of the school construction. So they requested that we get it replaced with power, so it can be a potential electronic board or sign, kind of like what the fire station has, is my guess.
That in itself is likely to be a zoning issue, so if that is a direction you want to go, perhaps we package the fence and the sign as one application.
Okay. Well,
We have to get pricing on that, though. Those electronic signs can be very expensive.
I know.
Is the driveway being moved at all, shifted?
No,
No.
I don't think so.
It's staying the same?
Yep. Not
Is-
the Gear Street entrance remains the same.
Okay. Is the sign a reimbursable expense?
Yes, well, a sign is a typical expense. I don't know to what level you want to get involved, especially if it's a display sign. Most recent projects have not gone to display signs, they've just gone to static signs. But we often run power and a conduit for data in case there's a change that happens down the road. So you get it prepped now. Maybe you'd illuminate a static sign, but you'll have a spare
like
conduit.
put up lights.
A spare,
something.
spare conduit in case you do want to swap it out with an electronic.
Okay.
And some towns, their zoning rules prohibit electronic signs, so I don't know where Cromwell
Well,
stands on that.
We have electronic signs in town, so I don't think the town prohibits that, but, we have some time before we have to determine putting a conduit out there, right? Because we're not gonna, we haven't, at
This
least
summer.
at the end of school. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have
Yeah,
to
they're doing all
determine it.
utility work.
Yep.
All right, so I'll follow up with them as well about what exactly kind of sign they're looking for, and then we have to put it together for the P and Z package.
Do we have any, do we need to get pricing? Like some kind
Well,
of quote?
So I had
Sign
asked,
pricing.
and the issue is that you kind of need to narrow down like what you want, because there's just so many freaking options out there that if you don't, it's like saying what kind of house do you want, like you have to narrow it down a little bit. So, do we want an electronic sign? Do we want a?
Well, we could probably find out
brick
at least
sign.
from town hall how much the electronic sign, like near ShopRite cost. They did that fairly recently, right, within the last 5 years. That would just
Yeah.
give us like a ballpark.
And their planning and zoning may have at least some guidance as far as size limitations
Yeah.
and guidelines to at least narrow down their wish list.
Yeah.
And provide some.
For some reason, I have like 10,000 in my brain from when this was talked about at a town hall meeting at some point, but I don't know.
But I think we don't have sketched out to run electrical out there. Is that true? Do you know?
We have no electrical going out to the sign right now, right?
No.
No, we'd have to get, that would be the,
And data.
Yeah,
potentially.
I think would it just be prudent to commit to saying yes, we want electrical and data to run out there for if
For
not
future
just for
use?
future use.
That would make sense.
It makes sense. It wouldn't hurt.
yeah, there's an existing sign. Right.
Yeah.
Where is that? Is that like as you go on gear towards the east? You
The
see
side.
it?
It's on the east side.
East side of the driveway, right?
Move the location.
Oh, I think that's well placed. Yeah.
Might as well have them run it.
Yeah.
Regardless of what kind of sign you do, you might as well run the utilities out while we're doing utilities.
Yeah. So run electrical and data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought a light would do nice.
And
Yeah.
So run electrical and data to current sign location. And then we'll have to figure out what sign we want to put there.
Is the current sign location the preferred sign location?
I don't know
Now
if
that
there's,
it's, Ron was saying, now that we got a stop sign, are you gonna see it where it is now? Is-
It's only visible coming one direction, really, coming up past the fire station, from the fire station. It's not really visible from you coming over that hill. So it would just need to be one side, and it's, I don't know where else you'd put it. You put it on the other corner,
Yeah, the
I
other
think.
side, there's no room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other side, there's
And
kind
it
of,
would also-
there's kind of a dip there.
Yeah.
And it would also sort of
There's a
corner.
bunch of sidewalks.
Yeah.
West, you can't see it because you're right at the crest of the hill.
Right, so
Yeah.
you can only see it coming the other way. That's the way it is now. They only put it up on one side, I think,
Yeah.
with letters.
What happens on the other corner? I know it dips towards the baseball
think
fields. Is it steep?
The east side is, it's kind of trees there, and there's a residence pretty close there, too,
Yeah,
I believe.
that's where it is now.
Yeah. It's on the east side. I thought it was on the west side.
No, it's on the east side.
East side.
Okay.
Wait. We're saying the east side
Near
of the
near baseball
entryway
field?
into Gear.
You said the entryway into Curio.
Entryway from Gear on the east side.
Yes.
I'm just saying the west side is just.
It's a dip.
It's a hill, right?
Yeah,
No, I thought you were
down
saying
the
there's trees
fields.
and houses there. No, that's
There's
just.
trees and houses on the east side,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the sign is now.
where the sign is now.
Oh
that's-
yeah,
That's
yeah. That's
somebody's
where.
yard.
Yeah, that backs in. Yeah. I would just run it out to the current location.
Okay, so just a summary then of changes. Running electrical and data to the current sign location. We're running a new drainage line to the robotics room and electrical to the two science rooms for the, well, oh, because there's two science rooms on each floor. Yeah. Yeah, floor science rooms.
What are we doing for signs?
The teachers want electrical from the like into their what do they call them, the desks, that demonstration desks. Which I'm guessing those demonstration desks then are static, like you can't move them.
That's correct. It's built-in millwork. And adjacent to that would be the teacher's desk, which you could relocate in the room if they wanted to.
Drainage to robotics, millwork area. Is it drainage and water line?
Mm-hmm.
So they don't need, in the science rooms, they don't need like gas or
No
water
gas.
at their demo table, at their demo
Is-
tables?
Is there water?
You would think they'd want
I
water, like
believe there's
sinks,
a
right?
sink there. There's a sink there, yes.
I would verify there's a sink there. And they don't need gas? I thought they always,
No gas.
there isn't?
No.
Not,
They use,
only on,
Only in
I'm
high
not gonna
school?
say it.
High school does it only?
Not
I believe they use alcohol burners if they need anything. That's what was
Okay.
reported to us in the user meetings.
Gotcha. Okay, I think that's that. So Arcadis.
Just what can I just think in my last one because we said about on the new field. I just had a question about the retention pond. Is the expectation that there will be standing water in there the majority of the time?
For During construction?
No, no,
In the end?
post-construction, in the end, yeah.
I don't, Joe, you want to
think
take that
that-
one?
I think it depends.
I believe there
Yeah.
will be water in it, but I don't think it's designed as a dry basin, so it's not meant to have water in it 365 days a year, but after a rain event, it'll have water till it drains out. I believe that's the explanation that.
Yeah, that was the
given.
original thing
Yeah.
I understood. No, I had people in town ask me questions about, and I said, well, the state it's in now is just because of all the runoff from all the surfaces are intentionally being funneled there,
Right.
and will be rerouted to other drainage locations in the future. But it will still be like receive groundwater or runoff from the building for overflow. So after rains,
Right.
I think the question was just if there was going to be standing water in there, call it more than 50-60% of the time, particularly in the spring and the summer, is that like mosquito breeding ground, and you got the ball fields right next to there? Is that something that, again, I don't know if there's any solutions to that, but I think it was just either keeping the water moving somehow, but that was all. If we feel like it's, hey, if it rains a lot, it's going to be wet for a couple days, but then it should be generally dry, then
That is my understanding.
I think it's dry right now, isn't it?
It's close.
Yeah.
It's close.
Because we've had like 5 days of no
Yeah.
rain.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
prior to the project, Matt, that was all water. So there was standing water in those woods. for
Oh,
the
okay.
last-
Maybe you just didn't see it because it was covered under.
Yeah,
Okay.
you walk through there, it's.
Yeah, it
mosquito
was
sack.
boggy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Arcadis.
Okay, thank you. Typical agenda project updates. We've already touched on some of these items. Project look ahead. We've seen some of the photos. And we have a change order for record that's been approved by the change order committee, which we'll discuss, and then we'll review our financials. Target schedule, Dan's already covered the progress and the site work activities. We've got design progress with submittals and the sample process working on. MEP coordination is continuing, and Dan, could you explain the secondary structural fill source? What are we looking for there?
Oh, we had to go to a secondary source because where we were getting it before, they couldn't produce the material, so we went to a secondary source. That's all.
Is that delaying any activities on site?
No, we got approval. We're all set.
Okay. As far as the look ahead for the next 2 weeks, you can see in your packet, it's easier to read in the packet than on the screen, but fair business of activity out there. 30-day look ahead, as Dan related, we've got a good amount of under slab utilities that'll be starting, some slab on grades, and then continuing foundation work. Photos, we've already touched on the aerial. I think this is a nice addition to every report so we can see this thing grow. So it's really starting to look like a building now. And once the steel starts, it's really going to pop.
So again, this one right here. So these couple of pictures right here showing the waterproofing on the elevator pit, on the exterior walls of the pit. And then just backfilling in the middle. And the far right is a picture showing the footing on the drain being placed.
Recent activity by the change order subcommittee was to approve the dewatering. There was a supplement to the previously approved number. There was also an approval to add crushed stone underneath footings if the surface wasn't suitable to pour concrete on. That's going to be handled on a unit cost, time and material basis.
That's
So
a do not exceed number?
I believe so, yeah. So we may not spend all of that depending on what our conditions are. Then, as we heard at previous meetings, there was an existing septic tank and drainage galleries that was discovered on the west side of the school. The water was tested. There was no concern there. The piping was tested. There was no asbestos in the piping, so that's been able to be handled by the site contractor. And then there was a second bite from the apple with temporary dewatering. And as Dan mentioned, now these are spent, and the contractor is dewatering, as part of the project cost.
Can you just remind me again what, in the reason code, what the F stands for?
Field conditions.
Thank you.
For project financials, we've paid to date approximately $3.2 million on the school and about $250,000 on central admin. We still have about $9 million to encumber on the high school and about almost $1 million on the central admin that have not yet been encumbered. Those values, especially the $9 million for the school, includes our bid savings as well as our contingencies, and then other items such as FF&E and technology that we're not at the stage of procurement yet.
All these numbers are our numbers, not the state numbers.
Correct. This is all reconciled to what was approved by referendum, not the supplement that somehow crept into the state bond. So as you see, the bonds, we're still taking the bid savings. Where is the bid savings? The bid savings are under owner contingency, so we're sequestering those dollars in a separate line item.
Check.
In both budgets.
So we didn't talk about the solar panels.
Not yet.
Is this in your report?
It's one of my comments.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
perfect, thank you.
So owner contingencies, we talked about the expenditures from and supplements into contingency on both projects. Right now, we've got a bit over $3 million remaining in owner contingency, separate from the bid savings, for the school portion, and about $174,000 on the central admin side. And those recent transactions are highlighted in yellow in your documents. As far as invoices for review and approval, the invoice tonight is the April period for Perkins Eastman, total value of $69,472.50. And we're asking approval of that invoice tonight.
I'll take a motion to approve the invoice for $69,472.50 for Perkins Eastman.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Anyone abstaining? Motion carries.
Okay, then to comments such as solar. First, looking at financials, tomorrow we will receive our first grant payment from the state in the combined value of, actually combined value, I think it's just for the school. I don't think we're getting anything yet because of the small budget on central admin. We have a limited number of draws we can make. But the first payment to the project from the state grant will be $1,198,200. That will hit the books tomorrow. Our second request for payment will be filed for the period ending May 31st, and we expect the payment to be in mid-July from the state.
And those go to the town?
Yes.
No, I was just wondering how many channels they maybe have to go through until they get to the town.
It's a wire. It's a wire transfer right into the town's account. Twice what you got paid last month. That's right. Big bonus. On the subject of money, there was legislation passed in the recent session that clarifies that energy rebates are not to be deducted from what happens, as far as the grant funding on the project. So you're no longer penalized like we used to be. So the incentive is no longer a disincentive. So that money can come straight into the town. You can apply it to the project. You can do other things with it. It doesn't necessarily, most towns with this accommodation will use it to, in lieu of bonding, to pay for a portion of the town's share of the cost.
Yeah.
But it could go to other uses at the town's
So that's like the
discretion.
Eversource program we went
Yes.
into, but we don't know how much you're getting back from them yet, right?
We won't know yet.
Okay.
As far, we have gotten green lights. We did get an update from Eversource that the design was reviewed and, you know, thumbs are up on
Okay,
what
good.
we've done so far.
Good.
But I don't have a dollar value for you. Another piece of recent legislation, effective July 1st, the Public Act number has been issued for the bill. It has not yet been signed by the governor as of my update today. But there is legislation that says, starting July 1st, all school building committees are to include the Board of Ed chair or the chair's designee as a member of the building committee. Now, how you're set up through the city council, town council, this may be a topic of discussion for them in order for them to add another chair or to designate one of the existing seats around the table. That'll be up to them as your governing authority. But it is a requirement that the state is imposing. Just like a few years back, they changed the structure of building committees to say that at least one member has to have some construction experience, which makes sense. And the thought behind this is now, because the Board of Ed is the ultimate consumer of the project once it's done, that they should have some skin in the game and have a representative of
It doesn't
some
have to
sort.
be someone on the Board of Education. It could be a representative of the Board of Education, right?
That's
Like,
correct.
because Claudio's pretty much here all the time, like, he could be their representative.
If the
for-
chair chooses to designate Claudio, the Claudio could be the,
It's
that
a
person.
voting member?
my understanding of the intent of the legislation is, yes, it would be a voting member. Yeah.
And
Uh,
does it apply to existing committees or committees moving forward?
I'll have to dig up the actual that actual section of the bill, and I can send it to you so you can distribute it around.
Okay.
That the bill is effective as of July 1st. We'll have to look for that specific section. If it says, for projects initiated after a certain date, or if it applies across the board. But we will confirm that for you.
And also if it's in addition to, or do we have to replace a seat?
That decision is typically a local decision.
Okay. So the
But
so
again,
the
once-
state doesn't care how many people are on the board?
Correct.
Okay, good.
So once we clarify the effective date, and
Because
if
the
it's
town
for
council
existing.
set like the membership, like their own membership requirements in addition to what the state had already provided when we were first established.
Yeah.
So,
We talked about the basin fencing and the fact that we're still waiting for the letter from zoning regarding that. There's also an issue that's cropped up with Eversource, that they're looking for easements to run our utilities for gas and electric through the site to get to the new building. So my first question was, why didn't our engineers know about that when they were having discussions with Eversource in the design process? Why didn't Eversource ever express that? So that's a question, but we will, it's not unusual to hear that as a requirement, but why we haven't had a discussion till now is my question. So that'll be a topic of discussion, for a future meeting. Then as to the photovoltaics, we did ask Perkins Eastman to work through their engineering team to provide us a proposal for design services. The attraction of going that route would be to have single source of responsibility within the building. CES knows what they plan for. Our structural engineers know what they plan for. So for that team to continue forward would have certain attraction to it. If it turns out to be a king's ransom, we might want to go somewhere else. But so far, we've made the request. We're yet to see that proposal. So Joe's following up on that with his team.
Is that directly with CES or is that through Perkins?
That would be through Perkins so that all the trades can be coordinated, structural, MEP, get any changes into the roof.
Who does,
design.
do you have to do any design changes from your perspective, or is it just their work? Because you already have it all set up to like accept.
Correct. So it's the building's set up to accommodate PV structurally and load-wise, and it'd be the design of the system. So we would probably have some time for meetings and things like that in there. Review. It'd be the same process as reviewing submittals and stuff like that as well. So we would have some time in addition. It wouldn't be.
Right, but I'm wondering, like, if they came back and said it was like $500,000, I don't know, whatever, I hope not. You would have, then you would put your 15% on top of that,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Whereas if we went to them directly, we would be saving that overhead.
You wanna- yeah,
We should not go through them directly.
We should not?
No.
Okay. Because,
Because our contract is with Perkins Eastman.
yeah.
We don't have a contract with CES. So we should either stay that route or work independent of the design team. Those are really our two options.
And
Gotcha.
any consultants outside of the existing design team would require an RFP.
Yeah. Okay.
So those are my, my updates for today. Any further questions? Hmm.
For your PO increase number 4 for $117,491.66. Do you need to vote for that?
Lisa's so good.
I don't have another page here. Okay.
Yeah, it's on, it's before you get to the financial slide. Yeah, the change order approval for record. It was when you talked about the stone at the bottom of the footings and all that stuff. Yeah.
That's not, okay, I see it now. Yeah, so again, the change order committee, your change order process empowers the committee to approve, and the contractor or involved party can then move forward with the work. We do put it before you in order to get it into the minutes. Thank you, Lisa, for catching that. So this change order for record, change order number 4, to Newfield in the amount of $117,491.66 is to get it into the written record. So we'd ask for a motion to that effect.
So are we approving it or just motioning it to put in the record?
Again, our practice has been,
Change committee, change
I
order?
guess, in other committees where you have a similar process, we say that it's been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we're asking you to endorse it for the record.
Okay. So I'll take a motion to endorse this for the record.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Anyone abstaining? Motion carries. All right. Anything else? Anyone else want to bring up anything?
The photovoltaic stuff, nothing, we can't go out to bid for quotes for materials until we have kind of the design. Okay.
Yeah.
This is probably more Newfield. Did we ever find a home for the dirty dirt?
The dirty dirt.
No. We're still going back and forth with the paperwork process. We're close. We're close. We just need a couple signatures, and then we should be able to get rid of it. I'm hoping in the next couple weeks. But it's not it's not bothering us right now.
And the town can't take it, right?
We have a location, it's just getting through the process. Yes, yep.
All right. Anything else? Anyone else? Our next meeting is June 12th. So I think, Lisa, you're going to send up an updated meeting invite, or
Yeah, I can, I don't see it differently.
On your end?
On mine, it shows June 12th, I'm looking at this calendar too.
So if you have any June 5th ones in your calendar, just reject them, because it doesn't, the June 5th series is wrong. It's the June 12th series that you want to keep.
Does anyone else have the June 12th series on their phone?
I have June 12th, I have June 5th too.
I do not.
I have the June 12th.
Delete.
Okay, I'm the only one that doesn't have the June 12th, but I do have the June 5th.
Yeah.
Let us know how you work out.
So I won't be here June 12th.
Okay. All right. Anything else? All right.